How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the founder of BET, a billionaire by the name of Bob Johnson, who has spoken positively about Donald Trump yet again, and not so positively about the Democrats who were trying to become the nominee for the 2020 presidential election. Now, there's a lot to quote unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say, but before we even get into it, let's watch the video. In this clip, you'll see what he says about the economy, about how Trump is doing. And the main thing is what he said about how the Democrats are operating. He is a Democrat and does not like any Democratic candidate out there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Well, I think the economy is doing absolutely great, and it's particularly reaching into populations that heretofore have had very bad problems in terms of jobs, employment, and the opportunities that come with full employment. So African American unemployment is at its lowest level, Hispanic unemployment, women. So I give President Trump, and I've said this before on Squawk Box, I give President a lot of credit for moving the economy in a positive direction that's benefiting a large number of Americans. I think the tax cuts clearly helped stimulate the economy.
Correct.
I think business people have a little bit more confidence in the way the economy is going, and I think it's beginning to have some impact globally. We still have some issues to deal with the China trade negotiation issues, but overall, if you look at the U.S. economy and you look at the number of people who are no longer looking for jobs, but now sort of seeing the opportunities for job growth, you got to give the president an A+ for that. Overall, if you look at what's going on between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, but it's really President Trump and the Democrats.
Yep.
There's really no give or take in terms of trying to come to an understanding how best to run the country. And if business people are concerned about anything, it's the clear sort of partisan politics that's become very wicked and very mean. And that's not helping the American people, and it's not helping America as a global nation. So to me, I think the issue is, as a long-term Democrat, I think the Democrats need to find a message, and I think President Trump needs to sort of step back a little bit from some of his sort of, a little bit sort of showmanship. But at the end of the day, the American people are looking for somebody who can deliver economically, deliver on opportunities, and focus on what's in the best interest of the country.
And walk me through, when you take a look at the Democratic field today, who's looking good to you? Because you have a long history of the Democratic Party at your fingertips. Who looks good today?
Right now, I'm not taking a position on the Democratic Party. I've long time been a centrist in terms of Democratic politics. The party, in my opinion, has moved, for me personally, too far to the left.
Yep.
And for that reason, I don't have a candidate in this particular, in the party at this time. I think at the end of the day, if a Democrat is going to beat Trump, that person, he or she, is going to have to move to the center. And you can't wait too long to do that. Because the message of some of the programs that the Democrats are pushing are not resonating with the majority of the American people. It's really working for the party for the primaries. But if you're going to win a general election against President Trump, who has a lockdown his base, and everybody's going to contest for the middle and the independents, you can't be too far left in that process.
All right, so you heard that, you see that. Now, I think what he said here was spot on accurate for most Americans. You got some Americans that are going to be on the radical left side of things over there with Ilhan Omar and AOC and any other random nobody that comes out and says, free healthcare, free abortions, free healthcare for illegal immigrants, all this, that, and the third. You got a few people that are going to support that, especially in the bigger city areas. Some of the same areas that Hillary Clinton was able to win in 2016, although she was not even as far left as some of these crazy lefties are. So while their messages may kind of resonate on Twitter, on television and whatnot, and like Bob Johnson said, in the primaries, it won't translate to a national election. The average person is not really political at all. They are right down the center. If you were to go into a street corner somewhere in some random city and ask people questions about Trump, about Hillary, and then get into some of the more complex questions about the economy, about world politics, and basic geography, they wouldn't really know too much. So the average person, I don't want to say they're politically ignorant. They're just kind of politically unaware. That might be the same thing, but that's a nice way of saying it. But anyway, people don't know that much about politics. So the average person is right in the center. How can you reach that person if you're saying all these crazy things? Okay. Donald Trump is labeled by the media as some kind of far right extremist, almost like Hitler in the flesh. But the reality is he is more of a moderate. That's the truth. Once you get past all the showmanship, like Bob Johnson said, and the bravado, and get down to his actual policies and his politics, is pretty moderate. Remember during the whole election cycle, Bruce Jenner went to Trump Tower. It might have been in New York City, and used the women's restroom because Trump got on TV and said, look, I don't care about that whole issue. A lot of us on the right care about that. Trump may claim to be Christian, but he's not one of these guys who are going to be a Bible thumper. That's what Mike Pence is for, and that's okay. But again, he's more of a moderate, so he's not going to be that much into the faith like a lot of, confirmed conservatives are. Beyond that, he is not for the whole warmongering thing. Some people on the left would say they're not warmongers, but they are. A person like Tulsi Gabbard, she will fight you if she had to. Like, I think Tulsi Gabbard would resort to war before Donald Trump would. But that's just my opinion. That's just my 2 cents. He's a moderate at the end of the day, and you got to be able to have that kind of appeal, that kind of ability to bring people together without being an extremist in order to win a national election. Can you win locally in your town, in your city, in your particular district? Sure. If you live in the town, district, or whatever that is dominated by a particular kind of person, and also if they have a low voter turnout, like in New York where AOC won, probably had a low voter turnout. You got a lot of liberals that live there, a lot of Hispanics that live there, so it's easy to get her in there. But once you zoom out and go to New York State, it's a little bit different, a little bit more dicey. Zoom out even more and go to the nation, it'll be even more difficult, okay? The left are trying to control things by this crazy rhetoric. Yeah, people like Megan Rapinoe basically stomping on the flag almost, who are being invited to the Senate by Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, all these people that are on the left who are trying to maintain the left's power. They're not going to be able to maintain power, in my humble opinion, if they're not able to get to the center. That is where all elections are won on a national level, in my humble opinion. There's no real extremists that are out there who vote every 4 years. A lot of them only vote just because it's a Republican or a Democrat. And those that are kind of undecided, those who may need a little bit of coaxing to go one way or the other, you got to be able to have a reasonable platform. Okay, Trump is talking about things that are reasonable. A lot of things that even Barack Obama was not able to do that would benefit a lot of those that claim to be on the left. Prison reform, tax cuts to get more jobs into America, defending the nation without being a warmonger. A lot of these things the left would appreciate. Now, the left, although they would appreciate that, are not the ones doing it when it comes to the politicians. With them, it's all about identity politics. Okay, you got a black woman, you got a gay man, you got this ethnic random person who comes in, and rather than basing your voting process on their policies, on what they bring to the table, on their track record, on their ability to get things done, you're going to base your voting process on how they look, who they're in bed with, what their racial background is, what kind of struggle they went through, all this, that, and the third. You have very little original ideas on the left. Most of the ideas on the left, from what I've seen, at least on the national level, are all about handouts. How much can I get from this? How much can I get from that? Okay, I think the only person who does not have a handout-based thing that they want to give that's original will be Tulsi Gabbard, but Trump ran on the exact same thing. So if you have her saying, okay, I don't want to start any foreign wars, but let's have abortion on demand, let's, do all this crazy leftist things, the far left stuff that has been dominating the left nowadays, and you got Trump that's more of a centrist, why would you vote for her over him? It does not make any sense, which is why Mr. Bob Johnson is 1,000% correct. a lot of people are going to be like him as well. A lot of lifelong Democrats, a lot of left-leaning centrists, they're going to come over to the right because the left has gone so far to the left. People that are just kind of over there by default are now on an island by themselves. They're a person without a country, a person without a political ideology upon which they can lay roots in. So they're just going to naturally go over to the right. It's like since the left shifted, the entire thing has shifted over that way. And people that may be right here are now on the opposite side. They're more to the right. That's kind of how that's working. So I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what do you think? Do you think that Bob Johnson is correct, that the left has gone too far left? They're doing all these kind of crazy things, and it's difficult for a Democrat to support anybody over there that has announced they're going to run. I mean, if you're on the left, who do you really want to vote for? How many of these people have a policy that is not far left? I mean, is it not far left to say you should be able to give illegal aliens free health care, abortion on demand up to 9 months? I mean, come on. Now, some would say, oh, why would you do that? That's the question. Why would you do that? Why would that be in the law? Because the left, again, have gone too far left. Or am I incorrect? Is the left progressing? Are they just going too far, too fast? They're doing too much progression for those of us on the right who are too, unwilling to change. The boomers don't want to change. Is that what's going on? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.